I've come to see that we have many more difficulties ahead, and some of the old optimism was a little superficial, and now it must be tempered with a solid realism. And I think the realistic fact is that we still have a long, long way to go. Today's expression in Montgomery is the expression of 50,000 people who are tired of being pushed around. Yes, there are tensions in the South, but the tension we experience there is due to the revolutionary reevaluation of the Negro by himself. We can't slow up because of our love for democracy and our love for America. Someone should tell Faulkner that the vast majority of the people on this globe are colored. Dixie has a heart all right, but it's having a little heart trouble right now. The world now demands a maturity of America that we may not be able to achieve. Every man of humane convictions must decide on the protest that best suits his convictions, but we must all protest. True compassion is more than flinging a coin to a beggar. It comes to see that an edifice which produces beggars needs restructuring. Our only hope today lies in our ability to recapture the revolutionary spirit and go out into a sometimes hostile world declaring eternal hostility to poverty, racism, and militarism. There are some things so dear, some things so precious, some things so eternally true that they are worth dying for, and I submit to you that if a man has not discovered something that he will die for, he isn't fit to live. Freedom is never voluntarily given by the oppressor, it must be demanded by the oppressed. It all boils down to the fact that we must never allow ourselves to become satisfied with unattained goals. We must always maintain a kind of divine discontent. The function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education. A riot is the language of the unheard. Of all the forms of inequality, injustice in health is the most shocking and inhuman. An individual has not started living until he can rise above the narrow confines of his individualistic concerns to the broader concerns of all humanity. Every step towards the goal of justice requires sacrifice, suffering, and struggle, the tireless exertions, and passionate concern of dedicated individuals. Without persistent effort, time itself becomes an ally of the insurgent and primitive forces of irrational emotionalism and social destruction. And one day, we must ask the question, why are there 40 million poor people in America? And when you begin to ask that question, you are raising questions about the economic system, about a broader distribution of wealth. There is nothing new about poverty. What is new, however, is that we have the resources to get rid of it. When machines and computers, profit motives, and property rights are considered more important than people, a true revolution of values will soon look uneasily on the glaring contrast of poverty and wealth. Today, many of these people are receiving millions of dollars in federal subsidies. They are the very people telling the black man that he ought to lift himself by his own bootstraps. And this is what we are faced with, and this is the reality. Now, when we come to Washington, in this campaign, we are coming to get our check.